Mayor Jordan, thanks for joining us. We're blessed here in Fayetteville to have a mayor who is interested in such things, and I really know you are. I've seen you at the global warming book clubs and stuff. You read things like that, you think about things like this. It's great. It's a great city.
Yes.
Yes. Great city.
Yes.
So I was 11 when the bomb went off over Hiroshima. Dick was 13, he said. I don't remember the day that the bomb went off, but I remember a couple of months later when I first learned something about the bomb. I was with my parents. I was in the car. They were playing the radio. And somebody came on and started talking about the effects of the bomb on Hiroshima. It's the first I'd heard of Hiroshima. Never have forgotten. It was 13 years later, actually, that I decided for the first time, quite a surprise in a way, I decided just almost in about a month's time that I wanted to be a physicist. It seemed like it would work for me. I had, some of you might know that I dropped out of music. I dearly wanted to be a jazz musician. But that didn't work out, so I turned to a second love, which was really philosophy, and I saw physics sort of in that light. So I got into physics, and naturally that only increased my awareness and my concern about nuclear weapons. So it's something that I've carried with me all my life. So let me tell you about the Trident submarine. We have 18 Trident submarines. They form about 50% of our nuclear weapons strategic force. 4 of these submarines are underwater at any given time, and they're totally invulnerable if they're underwater. There's no way there any combination of forces on this Earth, really, that can get at them when they're underwater. If there was a time of tension, we'd have more than just those 4 underwater, because we got 18 of these things in all. Let me tell you about one of those submarines, perhaps one of the ones that's underwater right now. It carries 24 intercontinental ballistic missiles. Each one of those ICBMs carries 8 warheads, 8 bombs. They're all independently targetable, so they can go 8 different directions. And there are 24 of those missiles. Each one of those warheads is worth about 6 Hiroshima bombs. It's 100 kilotons. Hiroshima was about 18 kilotons. A kiloton means 1,000 tons of TNT equivalent. Hiroshima was 18,000 tons of TNT equivalent. One of these warheads on the Trident submarine is 100 tons of TNT equivalent. 100,000 tons of TNT equivalent. These big numbers get away from you. In other words, the commander of that submarine, if he or she really wanted to, could destroy civilization and send those 192 very large Hiroshima bombs in 192 different directions. That's one submarine. We have an awful lot of this stuff, and so does Russia, and so do several other nations on the Earth. But the United States and Russia definitely are way out in front. We got way more than we conceivably need. And there's no reason why we have to live with this deadly threat day after day. We should and we need to get to zero. It's probably a ways off, but we should and we need to get to zero. This is not pie in the sky. Conservatives and liberals alike say the same thing. George C. Shultz and Henry Kissinger, for example, a couple of conservatives, secretaries of state and strategic advisors to President Reagan, to President Nixon, to George H.W. Bush. They say we should get to zero, and we can get to zero. There's a famous statement from them and 2 other Democratic former secretaries of state that calls for 0 nuclear weapons. It really can happen, so it's not pie in the sky. It's not just some liberal dream. That would be a good thing, but it's more than that. It really can happen. And everybody who thinks about it, I think, agrees with that. In 2009, President Obama and then President Medvedev of the Soviet Union agreed that the goal was to work towards zero nuclear weapons. There's a statement to that effect, big statement. So the leaders of the world really think we can get there. This is not just some dream. It can't happen. The theme of this gathering is New Thinking for a New Generation. What I'd like us new thinkers to do is get active. Yes, think freshly, think rationally, think through these things, and get active. Do something about it. For instance, go to the website of the Union of Concerned Scientists. It's a well-known group, the UCS. Just Google on them, you'll find them. And click on nuclear weapons. You'll find that they discuss several different nuclear weapons issues. And you can think of some ways from looking at that and reading about it, and think of some ways to get active. We all need to get involved in this, and I think that things would really change, because people really want it, and it really can happen, and it really does make sense. I want to tell you about just one nearer term possibility on the nuclear weapons issues. I think the most important single issue out there in the next few years, the next couple of decades perhaps, is the idea of a Middle East nuclear-free zone. A lot of people have talked about this over many years, and again, this is not by any means pie in the sky. One big problem is Israel has 100 nuclear weapons. They've had those nuclear weapons since the 60s. By the way, Pakistan is not really, you might be thinking Pakistan. Israel's the only country in the middle, in the Mideast with nuclear weapons. Pakistan is off in South Asia, not part of the Middle East, really. And they also can't reach Israel or the rest of the Middle East with their nuclear weapons. They don't have the range. So Israel becomes a problem, and I can tell you the rest of the nations in the Middle East are not happy about this unequal situation. It's unbalanced and it's unstable. And it's not going to stay that way for long. My guess is that Iran really has been trying to get nuclear weapons, in the past at least. I'm not sure they are anymore. And I dearly hope there's an agreement with Iran to at least slow down whatever they're doing and to have UN inspections. I'm not at all sure that they're really trying for it, really. It's not that clear if you look at the details. But some country over there is going to get nuclear weapons other than Israel. Or else they're going to get so close that Israel is going to attack them before they can get them. This is close to happening with Iran. Whether Iran actually is getting them or not is close to happening. That attack from Israel is close to happening. In other words, nuclear war could break out in the Middle East quite easily. Or a war over nuclear weapons could break out in the Middle East very easily. Everybody realizes this. The Middle Eastern nations talk about it all the time. When Americans go over there, they hear the Middle East nations talk about this all the time. It's not a stable situation, and it's not going to stay that way. The only solution that's stable is a Middle East nuclear-free zone. You've got to get rid of all of them, including Israel's, in the Middle East, before you're really going to settle the nuclear issue in the Middle East. Otherwise, it continues to be unstable. Well, it's doable. Let me give you some reasons why it is doable. Ayatollah Khomeini, I think that's it, called for this in 2012, called for a Mideast nuclear-free zone, including Iran, of course, and including Israel, of course. The United Nations Non-Proliferation Treaties, 189 nations, including the U.S., called for a nuclear-free Mideastern zone. They called for a conference. This is the UN Non-Proliferation Treaty Group, including the United States. They all called unanimously for this conference to happen to establish a nuclear-free zone in the Mideast. And that's pretty recently. Saudi Arabia supports the idea of a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East. In other words, most all the major players support a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East. Problem right now is Israel. Israel refuses to discuss the issue. They refuse UN inspections. Of course, they have nuclear weapons. So the inspectors would discover those weapons, but everybody knows they have them. It's sort of an open secret. Israel is one of only 4 nations in the world that has not signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The others are Pakistan and South Korea and I think India. So Israel's leaders would be are against this. But Israel's people are not. And there's real hope in that. Polls show that 64% of Israelis favor a nuclear-free Middle East, Israel included, 64%. But they've unfortunately got a bunch of very hawkish leaders, very right-wing leaning leaders, Netanyahu and others in Israel. And that makes it very hard to push through. But it can be done, and we just need to work on it. I think the United States needs to lean pretty hard on Israel on this issue and on some other issues. I support Israel, by the way. I really do. I want them to be happy and peaceful and to thrive. And also, I want Palestine to be happy and peaceful and thrive. I don't think Israel's going to thrive unless they get the Mideast nuclear-free zone. Because other countries are going to get it, and then the fat's going to be in the fire for Israel at that point. So this all makes a great deal of sense. There are lots of things that can be done here that make a great deal of sense. So the idea is get active, learn about some of this stuff, and do something about it, please. Thanks.
Good. Thank you, Art. Very nicely said. Okay, well, we are almost done. We have a culminating event of sorts. Actually, the structure's about to fall into pieces here. You notice the flowers down here. These were the result of Tricycle Farm, and also Kathy and Georgia back there helped gather flowers. It's not easy to find flowers this time of the year, as you might guess. And we're also going to get some help from the Omni youth that are here. And I'm a little bit in the dark exactly how this is going to go. But you know, we lost, Don, I'm going to need you, if you can get your mandolin. We lost a great folk singer, a great peacemaker this year, Pete Seeger, of course. And so we're going to actually sing a Pete Seeger song that's very appropriate for this moment. You know, let me back up a little bit. Art and, you know, I know one of Art Hobson's main issues really in his world is climate change. And it's actually all of our main issue. I'm going to take liberty here and mention a very important event that's coming up, okay? Somehow or another, some folks in this town, namely Edward Hitmonick, have figured out how to coordinate a bus to go to New York City for the big climate change conference protest in September. And if I'm right, Edward, is it the 19th of September when the bus leaves? So I'm just going to throw that out there. Edward, could you stand up so anybody who wants to find out about this can talk to Edward after the event? And there's going to be some fundraising events, and you'll hear about it, but I just want you to know this is an option. You can actually take a bus. So what's happening is these young people are handing out flowers, and we are going to transform this bomb into a flowering bomb, symbolically to show this transformation. And Don and I are going to sing a song while you do that. Now, two things are going to happen. First of all, in a minute I'm going to ask you all to stand up and you will file in around the bomb and place your bomb in your flower in the bomb, excuse me.
We get the idea.
You get the idea, don't you? And Don and I are going to sing the Pete Seeger song, which is called The Flowers of Peace, very appropriately. And there's plenty of flowers. There's extra flowers if you need more. Let's keep it going and fill it up. And secondly, after that, we're going to sing a chant. So when you finish with your flower, you might just kind of stand in this vicinity, and we're going to sing a chant. And this is a chant that Don and I wrote together while we were inside of that ball. I kid you not. And before Hank had it delivered, he gave us the ability to actually go in the hatch in the bottom, and we went in there and played music for about an hour or two, and we wrote a chant. And the chant's lyrics are very simple. In fact, they're written all over the sphere. It says, "May peace prevail on earth in all the languages of the world." We're going to sing in English. And by the way, I also want to thank the Kaminskis for the peace crane, which is a very important part of the tradition here. Thank you very much. Let's have a hand for that. I do appreciate that. Many years hanging in there. So everybody's going to get flowers, and then you can start drifting up here and circling, and we'll sing a song. And then, like I say, we'll go straight into the chant. And I want you to try to sing along with the chant. It's very, very simple. And like I say, the lyrics are just, "May peace prevail on earth." Not too difficult. I need to get my guitar. Hold on just a minute. Gladys, am I forgetting anything?
I also want to say, if you're not able to get on the bus that's going to New York for the big rally, you can help contribute, and you can help pay for somebody that can't afford to get on the bus. And there'll be lots of ways to do that as well.
That's right. That's a good point. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of our peace and justice community. It's a very beautiful song by Pete Seeger.
Y'all come forward now and put flowers on it.
I bet some of you all were at the Pete Seeger tribute that Adam Cox organized. That was a wonderful event. Oh, summertime is coming, and the leaves are sweet returning, but the flowers of peace, it's for them I'm really yearning. Will they bloom, ever bloom? Will they bloom in springtime? Oh, those flowers of peace, when the world should be singing, will they bloom, ever bloom? I built my love about by a clear and crystal river, but the thing my heart desired, the thing I went on near, will they bloom, ever bloom? Will they bloom in springtime? Oh, those flowers of peace, when the world should be singing, will they bloom, ever bloom? Oh, Providence smiles placid, while I fell on bended knee, said the lies of your empire are no more than swarms of bees. Will they ever bloom? Will they bloom in the springtime? For those flowers of peace, when the world should be singing, will they bloom, ever bloom? If you and I could see those flowers, get up and rouse your neighbor. When at first seed I had planted, it took hard and careful labor, and they'll bloom, ever bloom. Then they'll bloom in springtime. Oh, those flowers of peace, when the world should be singing, they'll bloom, ever bloom. You and I can see these flowers, go out and till the fertile soil. It'll take more than prayer, it takes hard and sweaty toil. Then they'll bloom, ever bloom. Then they'll bloom in the springtime. Oh, those flowers of peace, when the world should be singing, and they'll bloom, ever bloom, and they'll Thank you. This is looking very, very good, you guys. We really had no idea how this would materialize, and I'm very pleased. Thank you for all what you're doing. This is just perfect. So, here's the melody I'd like for you to sing. It's very simple. May peace prevail on earth, on earth. May peace prevail on earth, on earth. Now, just like Adam said, everyone together. I hear you. You're doing good. May peace prevail on earth, on earth. May peace prevail on earth, on earth. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you. We want to put a flower.
Good to see you. See you, sir. How's your health? Pretty good. Pretty good? You? Yeah, I'm okay. You look good. Yeah. Still get lots of good pictures? Yeah. Video here and pictures of the other one.
I've been hearing about this Robin, how they get that out.
What's the bomb? Yeah. Art spoke last week. Were you in the service? No. Hi.
Howdy.
How y'all doing? Let me see you together. Come here.
Oh, yeah, right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. Gladys, you're not in the picture. Don't put up another flower, Mayor.
Huh?
Don't put up another flower.
Oh,
Oh, good. Good. I know.
Thanks for taking photos.
Yes, sir.
Did you get all the colors there?
I'm trying. So was that person asking, was that on the internet or?
No, she's over Butterfield.
Oh. I can't guess. I can't remember my own name for Sunday morning. I'm sure I know if I.
Move a little bit.
Donna.
Hey, how you doing, Donna?
Hi, Don. How are you?
Oh, the construction, that's such a great concept. It really looks
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah.
amazing. I'm glad we did.
I know everyone.
Take care. Take care. Oh no, I was trying to get you, but y'all won't be still. Well. Yeah, I wrote you an email about that earlier, I think, or a message.
I'll check it
So it would be a kindness if you